Hi, I'm Gwen. Welcome back. Today we're creating two stunning DIYs that were inspired by TikTok and Pinterest. We're also part of the Flower Palooza collaboration. Today, I'll tell you more about that in just a bit, but for now, let's just go ahead and get started. To start this project, we're going to be creating 3 crosses, and we're going to need this entire box of tumbling tower blocks from the Dollar Tree and a very strong pot of coffee to stain the blocks. Now I'm going to pour the coffee over the blocks and let them set for several hours. If you have overnight, that's best. It'll deepen the color of your blocks, or you can just paint or stain them. And once they set for several hours, I took them out, laid them on a towel, let them dry overnight. I'm going to glue the blocks in sets of 2, so for each cross you're going to need 7 sets of 2. I'm using Gorilla Super Glue because I need these to set up very quickly, but if I had more time I would have used wood glue, but of course you can use whatever glue that you prefer. To make the base, I'm just going to glue together 3 blocks going horizontal, and then I'll place a block on each end going vertical. You'll see here on screen what I'm doing, and it just makes a very sturdy base. I'm just going to use my L-shaped ruler to help me make sure I keep everything as straight as possible. Thank you to the honey to make sure that I'm making a cross and not a plus sign, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing for the other 2 crosses. Adding more super glue to the bottom of the cross and just holding it in place until it has time to set up. And for more stability, I'm just going to add in 2 of these little cubes from the Dollar Tree, and I did stain each of them with some antiquing wax and using a baby wipe. As you can see, my little helper got very tired from all of her hard work and had to have a nap. In the TikTok video, the young lady used a real dough bowl, but I'm going to be using this bowl that I created from plaster of Paris and a plastic bowl from the Dollar Tree. If you want to see how I did that, I'll link it here on the screen and in the description box. And in the bottom of my bowl, I've just cut out a piece of cardboard, and I'm placing that there because I don't want to hot glue this floral foam directly to my bowl. And this big piece of floral foam, it came from Walmart. It was actually a big square. Again, thank you to the honey for helping me cut it out exactly. And then any rough edges, I just used a sanding block and just smoothed them down. And y'all, I think that turned out pretty well. But anyway, I'm just hot gluing it to the piece of cardboard, just going to kind of push it down, hold it in place. And because I want my middle cross to stand up taller than the other 2, I am going to hot glue this little smaller piece of floral foam right in the center of this larger piece. To help me remember exactly where I want to place the crosses, I've used a pencil and just very lightly outlined on the foam where I want them to go, and then I'm just going to use hot glue and attach each of the crosses. I'm going to be using a variety of greenery. However, I'm not going to use the really dark greenery that's laying here on the table. I do substitute that for some eucalyptus leaves because after I got started adding in my greenery, I realized that I needed some bigger leaves to help cover up all this floral foam, and you'll see that in just a moment. The greenery that I'm inserting now came from Dollar Tree last year. It was actually some type of really long vine, and I just cut it down into smaller pieces and just inserting it in. The foam and the lighter greenery I picked up this year from the Dollar Tree. I don't know about you guys, but I am really struggling even through the holidays and now in the spring and finding greenery at my Dollar Tree. I was only able to get 2 of these little bunches, and unfortunately I used one of them in a previous project, so I'm just very sparingly placing this throughout the foam, and that's why I decided to go with the eucalyptus that I found at Walmart. And I got these bunches, I think they were $1.47. They're really pretty. I mean, they're not the greatest quality, but they're not terrible either. But they did the job. They're covering up this foam, and that's what I'm looking for at the moment. If, however, you don't have enough greenery, when you have a big piece of foam like this, you can always use some moss or something like that to help cover it up. These beautiful large pink blooms came from Hobby Lobby, And these sweet little ranunculus, these came from Amazon, believe it or not. They are just gorgeous. I'll link these down below for you if you like. And we're also going to be adding in some of these little white hydrangeas. They were on the same bush as the large pink flowers. I just clipped them down to use in this project. Whenever I make an arrangement like this, I like to start with my largest flower, and I believe these are called dahlias, y'all. I'm not real sure. There wasn't a name on the bush whenever I cut them apart. And then once I get those placed in, I'll come back with my hydrangeas and just pop those in between. Next, we're going to add in these beautiful ranunculus, and y'all, these are so gorgeous. Both colors are just beautiful, and they're very high quality flower. Now, I will tell you, if you decide to order them from Amazon, they squish these beautiful blooms into this little bitty box. You will have to take them out. I spritzed them with a little bit of water and hit it with my blow dryer, and they just fluffed right out. But just be aware of that if you get them, and just take a few extra minutes. You can also use your steamer, but I didn't have that on hand. Anyway, these little green and white branches came from Amazon as well. Now, they aren't quite as good a quality as the ranunculus, but they work for this project, and it gives that just added dimension and texture, and it also works for filling in any little holes that you may have. You do want to take a moment when you get finished making your arrangement, just pull out your flowers. Sometimes they do get smushed in. Make any changes that you might need to make. I did have to make a couple of changes, y'all. I'm very much an amateur at doing this, so I have to take a step back because I can get heavy-handed with putting in flowers. Had to remove a couple of things and then just kind of move it around. There's nothing wrong with that. That is the fun of creating something, just making it come to life and making it fit the picture or idea that's in your head. I think this, in my opinion, is just so beautiful. I love it. It might be too much for some people, and that's quite all right. If you only want the greenery or just the white flowers in, that would be perfect. That's what my inspiration piece from TikTok, and I'll make sure I link that young lady's video down below in the description box. It was just greenery and white flowers, but I love color, and I thought this was just so beautiful. It would be a great gift to make and give someone. They could set it in the center of their table for a centerpiece, or even put it in the entryway of your church. I think that would be absolutely gorgeous. Tell me what your thoughts are about this, and would you attempt to recreate it? As I mentioned earlier, this video is part of the Flower Palooza collaboration. Is hosted by the amazing Annie over at Crafting with Indie Annie Jones. I'll have her channel along with the playlist down in the description box. I promise you guys, you're going to get some fantastic inspiration for this spring and Easter season, so make sure you go check out everybody's videos. We're going to start this project by giving this wooden bunny from the Dollar Tree 2 coats of Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to be painting both the front and back side. We're going to paint the outside edge of the bunny with Tropic Orange from Apple Barrel. Now, if you don't want to do this, you can always just leave it white or the natural color of the wood, or you can even add ribbon if you prefer. But I'm going to be adding reindeer moss to the flat side of the bunny. It is such a pretty light green. I thought this color would just really make the bunny pop and just really give it definition. Now, it did turn out to be a little bit more orange than what I had anticipated. It looked kind of more peachy when I first started, but that's okay. You'll see in just a moment when we start to add our florals that it just works and it just comes together so beautifully. I'm going to use hot glue to apply the reindeer moss. Just be careful not to burn your fingers when you're patting the moss down. Y'all, I was so happy to find this moss this year. It has been so long since my Dollar Tree has had really good quality reindeer moss, and it's just so fluffy and moist. It's not all brittle and falling apart. I'm gushing over moss. I can't believe that, but anyway, I'm just going to cover the entire front of the bunny rabbit with this moss. Now, I chose not to trim off the little bit of excess moss that's hanging over the sides. I personally love how it looks against the orange, and I like a little bit of a lush, untamed look. But if it bothers you or not your thing, please feel free to grab your scissors and trim that stuff up. As I always say, my projects are simply for inspiration. If I'm creating something that's not exactly your taste, your color, your style, whatever it might be, change it up, make it work for you. I'm just here to give you ideas and hopefully inspire you a little bit and hopefully entertain you just a little bit. Next, we're going to add in our pretty little flowers, and these are just pieces I had left over from other projects. Y'all always hear me talk about my bag of greenery. Well, I have a bag of greenery for spring as well, and it's always great to keep them for little projects such as this. I did go in and snip off those little pieces that's on the back of the flower because I wanted to lay as flat as possible on the moss. Now, I am guilty of smashing my flowers down just a little too much. So off camera, I did go back and fix that. I just very gently pulled the flower, not so much as to pull them up, but just very gently pulled them up and just fluffed them a bit. This succulent came from the Dollar Tree, and obviously it's way too big for this little bunny, so we're just going to be using the top part of it. And I'm just going to pull it off, and then because it's kind of thicker and heavier than the other little flowers, I am going to use a little more hot glue than I did on those and just hold it in place until it has time to set up. Then I'm just going to go in with some of these little bits and pieces of greenery and just delicate little flowers and just start to fill in any holes or gaps that I might have. Thank you so much for choosing to click on my video and watch it. I truly appreciate that. If you're new, welcome. So happy to have you here. If you're returning, a great big welcome back. So happy to have you here and to say thank you for all your continued support, your wonderful comments, your thumbs up. It truly helps my channel to grow. If you're not subscribed and you're enjoying my video, I invite you to hit that subscribe button. It would mean so very much to me. I thought these little pink fuzzy things would be just perfect for his little ears, and I have no idea what they are called. They were left over from another project. If you know what they are, tell me down below. And then for his little tail, I'm sorry about the angle here, it's not very clear, but I'm using these little pom-poms, and I'm just going to hot glue 3 of them and create a tail for him. Or her. What do y'all think? Is it a him or a her? Off camera, I did switch out the flower that's near the bunny's nose. I just thought the one that I replaced it with worked so much better. I hope you found as much inspiration from this little piece as I did from the picture on Pinterest. I will have that link down below in the description box for you. It's just such a fun and easy, inexpensive little project to do, and I think it's just such an adorable little centerpiece. You'll see in just a moment, I have it in between 2 candles on my table in the living room, but you could create a couple of more, put them down the center of your dining room table, and it would just be so pretty for Easter. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Annie, for hosting this wonderful collaboration. I will have the playlist down in the description box and pinned in that first comment for your convenience. Don't forget to go and check out everyone else's video, and I will see you soon. Bye.